Space, the final frontier. This is the 2.5-year journey of the build of the Starship Enterprise. Hello, I'm Chris, this is Gross Models, and welcome to the start of a new partwork build. This is the Enterprise D, the NCC 1701D from Star Trek The Next Generation. Now, this is a new build from Hero Collector, which is part of Eaglemoss. I've done a couple of partworks from Eaglemoss before, but not build things. They've been more, collectible magazines and things like that. So this is a new one for me. And obviously, it's a fairly new build anyway, so we'll see how it goes. I don't know. I know the show. I've watched all the show. I'm aware of the ship. I don't know much about the build. I haven't watched any previous builders do anything with it, so we'll see what happens. Now, the way this works is a little bit different to most partworks. They seem to send you one magazine per build pack, rather than one per issue. Well, it is one issue, but it's 2 or 4 sort of build instructions. So things are going to be a little bit different to normal. This is the introductory pack, which contains a few things. We get the first issue of the build, which is, say, quite substantial. It looks like some quite nice stuff to see in there. So we'll have a look through that. Mainly we'll have a look through that next time. This time I'm going to give you an overview of the entire thing and obviously do the first build pack. Next time I'll do the second build pack and have a look through the magazine. I don't know how I'm going to do it in the future as things go on, but that's what I'm going to do today. The other thing we get is the quite interesting Introducing Your Model brochure, which again gives you the overview of everything, and it's easy to build. There's no need for glue or paint. Whether that's true or not, we'll find out. I might be doing some upgrades and modifications to it, as I do on a lot of my partwork builds, but we'll see. It depends how it looks and whether I'm happy with it or anything else. It's got all the detail you would expect on a Starfleet ship, including the RCS thruster on the outer edge of the saucer. I don't know what that is. I say I've watched the show. I haven't gone deep into the background of everything, so yeah. But it's got illumination windows. The front saucer section detaches. It comes with a stand, illuminated deflector dish and warp nacelles and things like that. So it looks the part, and it looks like it's going to be a good fun build, and it's going to be huge. It's going to be massive. We'll get to that momentarily. So yeah, they've used studio. Obviously, it's not going to be quite that big, but they've used studio models to do it. They've matched the colours. Apparently, it says establishing the exact colour of the Enterprise D is not an easy task. As with all of these things that are shot on film for TV and for film, it's all to do with the lighting. The studio lighting affects the lighting of the model, so they've carefully painted it to match its appearance on screen, with particular reference to the HD remastered editions of TNG. I like that. I'm not one to say it should be. I know a few of the original series craft were actually made in like an eggshell blue, but due to the studio lighting and everything else, it made it look like this sort of off-white sort of colour. I much prefer my model to look like it's in the show rather than that it's a studio model that needs to be lit correctly to look like it's in the show. So yeah, we'll see that. So it's saucer separation obviously in there as well. Lights and scales, got working lights. It's easy to build, and it's over 2 feet long. Yeah, it's going to be a fun build. This I'm very much looking forward to doing this, and yeah, all the detail that's there already is good. The collector's guide. This is the magazine that you get with it. It has detailed instructions on the build, behind the scenes, and starting with issue 3. I assume this is obviously issue 1, although it covers 1 and 2. I don't know if they count issue 3 as the next one or the one after. But there's going to be in-depth guides to every episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. But behind-the-scenes guides rather than, an episode list. Featuring interview with the writers, directors and stars, production artwork, rare behind-the-scenes photographs. That will be, again, quite interesting to see. I've not seen, a lot of these pictures before, obviously. And then, obviously, we get a nice picture on the back there. The other thing that comes in this pack, actually I'll come back to that, we get a folder which is similar to how these are done with you put these little bits in there and then they come out. There's 2, 4, where are we? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Looks like 12. I can't quite count from here, but it looks like there's 12 issues in there. So that obviously this is 1, and that's 2 issues. So if the next one's going to be 4 issues and we get 1 magazine for each, you're probably only going to need, it might all fit in 1. I don't know. We won't get that because that'd be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 12. No, because if it's monthly, it's going to be over 2 years. So it's probably 2 folders to complete it all. But that's quite a nice binder. I like that. That's good. I shall be putting the first issue in there once I've used it. Yes, what we get here is a huge, massive, big picture, which I shall be hanging on the wall behind me somewhere. When I redo everything, I've got to put my Iron Man picture up as well. But this is a life-size picture. It says life-size model photography. Obviously not life-size of the Enterprise, but life-size of the Enterprise model that I'm going to be building. So yeah, if I open that up here, there we have the saucer section. So the saucer section will fit on my bench as is. But obviously that's only sort of like half of it. The other bit of the body of it will fit. So if I'm doing it one and the other separately, then it'll all fit together. That'll be fine. I'll be able to work on it here. It's 50 centimeters wide. It says this is obviously the front view down there as well. So yeah, that's a decent size, but not as unsurmountable as I thought it might be. This is pack 2, which, as you can see, has one of the nacelles in it. Lots of screws and everything. I don't know how well packaged everything's going to be. Often the first couple of issues will come on these blister packs, although strangely enough these have both come unattached. It looks like they put a bit of tape on there to hold that together, but this and the first one here isn't attached to the backing part, so I don't know. The box was a bit split as well, but everything seems to be here. So I'll put that aside and we'll come back to that next time. This is issue 1, which, so yeah, we got on there. Collector's model not designed or intended for play with children under 14 years of age. Yeah, so not for children. Right, in here we have lots and lots of things. Yeah, the first issues are always generally big and lots of things going on, but there's a crazy amount of things going on. Now, the one thing that I do like about this particular build is the entire build, the outer build of it, is all metal. This is a big, substantial build with, I say, quite nice. You can just about make out the Aztec patterns on there, which, yeah, it's gonna be good. The screwdriver they provide is pretty decent, actually. That's all right. We'll see how it holds up to work and use, but that's going to be quite comfortable to use, quite grippy. Obviously, I have screwdrivers to use as well. We've got the LEDs, which are quite nice in there. Different LEDs and things. Screws labelled quite nicely as well. CP, AP. I shall be arranging my screw collection again and putting these in properly. I learnt my lesson now. So we'll have a look and see what we've got in there and go from that. Now, as I said, I'm not going to be going through the entire magazine this time because I've already wasted, 10 minutes going through the pre-build build. But it looks like, assuming this is an ongoing thing, it shows us the parts you get, an at-glance guide to building stages 1 and 2, the assembly instructions for stages 1 and 2, and then we get all the other added stuff to go into it. Cadet crew. Yeah, I don't know. So here we have the parts from stage 1 and the parts from stage 2. I'm not going to worry about the stage 2 yet. We'll go through that when I do stage 2. That will be tomorrow's video. So the stage 1 parts, they quite conveniently label them all, so you should be able to figure out what's what. They're not obviously to scale. So we can see that 01A is deck 2, and there's one of them. There's one of everything. Oh, look, screws. We get 6 plus 2 spare, 8 plus 2 spare, 3 plus 1 spare. The issue includes a screwdriver for use throughout. Yeah, I thought it probably would. So I'm just going to have a look through and make sure we have got everything that it says we've got. We've got that. That's this bit, which is the upper sensor platform. We have the bridge base. Now, some of these are a bit harder to tell. I think that's that. That looks like that, yeah. And then we've got a bit that looks like that, which is probably that one, yeah. That and that are those two. We've got this that's the half-shaped thing. Looks like that. Those two are those two there. That should be in there. The things have obviously got shuffled around a little bit. Those two there, yeah. We've got that one there, that one there. Don't know what they are. That's a transparent piece there. Or they might be... I don't know. Oh, these must be these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. So yeah, 6 of them. UP 01N, for instance, is Escape Pod Cover 3. Then we've got those two, which are those two. Those are those two by the looks of it. Selection of screws, we've got a selection of wires, 3 of them. Yeah, 3. 2 bundled there, which are obviously the longer one, and the shorter one there. Quite like the colours. They've done different colours for them to make them stand out a little bit more. So yes, I've got all the parts. So we'll ignore parts 2 until tomorrow. Now, going through here, the assembly instructions do seem to be very well done. Begin building your Enterprise with one of the most recognisable elements, the main command bridge on top of Deck 2, plus the beginnings of the lighting system. Right, the illustrations are colour-coded to help you identify which parts are being assembled. My phone's ringing, it's not for me, I'll ignore it. Red highlights where the new parts fit and the screws. Yellow identifies new parts, and grey-blue indicates previously assembled, onto which new parts are fitted. Right, let's have a look. So we've got red lines through there saying that this is yellow is the new part we're going to put onto that part. Okay, I understand how that's going to work. So for this part, it's showing us that down there. Right, I shall get some picture-in-picture pictures up. I probably do it as each individual picture on this build. So we'll go through that, finish off that build, and that's fitting the escape pods is the final part. Then we're on to stage 2, which, as I say, I will do tomorrow. So the one thing that I'm going to be confused by is when it starts just saying use O1D, and then I'll have to refer back to figure out what pieces they are. But I should be able to work it out. We'll figure it out. I shall get the instructions out of your way so I can still see what I'm doing. But as I say, I shall put them up on the screen so you can see what I'm doing. I'll leave those in the tray because otherwise they're just going to go everywhere and go all over the place. So for the first stage, step A of 1.1, fitting the main bridge module. We need this. This is plastic, but that's okay. That's going to go onto the top there, just like that. Fair enough. And is fitted in place with 2 AP screws. Let me sort out the screws and I shall come back to you momentarily. Right, there we go. I've got 2 of the AP screws out. Now, if you've watched any of my previous builds, look, is this magnetised? It is. Well done. Thank you very much. If you've seen any of my previous builds before, you'll be aware of my insistence that you don't ever put in a screw and tighten it up when there's more than one to put in. It's always a good idea to put in all of the screws into the part before you tighten even one of them, just to make sure everything lines up properly, because this has got a bit of wiggle around. So if you get both screws in, make sure everything lines up as it should be, then you can go in and tighten them up. Now, bearing in mind that this is a metal screw, obviously, going into a plastic piece through a plastic piece, be aware that plastic is not as strong as metal. So you need to tighten it up just so it holds it in place, not so you need to put extreme pressure onto it to do anything with it. So that's that. Let's have a look at the next bit, step B. Step number B. Take the bridge lights with a C sticker. That's quite good if they got stickers on them. Yeah, that's A. Right, let's unwrap these, B and C. That's nice, very well done again, labelling them all clearly, because I'm an idiot. It's easy to get them wrong. It's much harder to get them wrong if they put stickers on them and tell me exactly which one I need to use at any given moment. So this is the one with a C on it. Identify the bulb with yellow and white wiring. Right. Oh, even the white, yeah, because there's two bulbs going on there. Right. So the yellow and white wired bulb is there. Fit it to the underside of the bridge base. All right. Let's have a look here. We've got this that way round there. Yeah. There's little pins there. So that's where that's going to go. That fits just about there. So it's just held in place like that. It immediately below the bulb along the oblong jut. Okay. And these apparently is going to come out around here somewhere, but we will worry about that later. Next, cover the bulb with the bridge rear window. That's that one, which is nicely silvered. It's all right, yeah, okay, because that's not going to stay on its own. It needs to be covered. So there's a little cutout for the bulb. Just need to wiggle it around, make sure that sits in the right place. All the windows pop up into the right little holes. So that goes in there like that. It just slots in place. It doesn't hold in place with anything securely. Take the other bulb and get that over the other little nodule. Like that. And then we're getting the other window, which is going to go over there. These wires are coming out underneath that, so that's just got to go over there, under there, and in there, filling in all of the other windows. Again, with the little square bit holding that in place. Then that's not fully up. Let's see, why is that? Is that because of this? Yeah, there we go. Pull that back just a touch. Everything slides into place. And that looks quite good. They look like silvered when the light is not on. Obviously, we can't test the lights this time around, but at some point we will be testing them and make sure it all works. Now we're putting that onto there. Obviously, it'll only go one way around. We're threading the light wire through the middle. All the way through there. Still making sure those don't fall off. That goes on there like that, and is held in place cunningly, except that's not quite in the right place. Let's maneuver things around a little bit. Alright, make sure that is the right way around. It's got to be that way around, because yeah, it definitely won't fit the other way around. And that goes in there. Two more AP screws to hold in place on that. Now I found out that these labels are the AP is written on the label, so you can't just peel it. Well, you can, but you'd be a fool to just peel them off and leave them stranded. So they go into there, and again, I'm just gonna put the first one in so it holds and bites, and then the second one. We'll do the same. That's going into a hole. Make sure it sits down and lines up where you need it to, and then you can go back in and tighten them. Again, it's still plastic, so be wary of tightening too much. It just needs to hold itself. It doesn't need to be structural. So that goes together like that. It says, set this assembly aside until you reach step G over the page. Well, I'm going to go over the page now anyway, because that's where the next instructions are. But we're not at G yet, obviously. We've got to do E first. There's a lot of building in this. I'm assuming, as with most part works, sometimes you'll do a lot, sometimes you won't do very much. So, yeah, I'll put that aside for now until we get back to it. Then we're locating deck 2, the big whole massive thing that's nice and substantial and weighty. Right, then we need the emergency flush vent, 01H. So, let me have a look and see, because that's not one of those things. Is it one of these things? Does it look like that? That's got an R on it, but I don't know what that means. This is transparent, which might well be because it's got, you know, it's going next to a light and it's going to fit in there. So let's see. That does indeed fit in there quite nicely. And that doesn't fit over the other side because that's the wrong one. I bet that fits over the other side. I'm going to throw it away though, apparently, first, because I don't need it. I do need it. I need that. There it is. Let's have a look. These are obviously different and not for that piece. So yes, it is this transparent piece. Then I need the deck lights, the ones marked with a B, which is this other one I've got here. Fit the bulb with the black and yellow wiring next to the vent, so the rubbery base of the bulb straddles the odd up. This is going to be an ongoing thing, and there's a little lump there and a little platform for it to go onto. So the black and yellow, yeah, rubbery base over there. So that's actually going just onto there. Just like that. It's not staying there because obviously there's nothing to hold it there yet, but I'm sure there will be. Yes, you've got to use one of these. Right, this has got an L on it, so I'm assuming that's going to be there. Yeah, this has got little plugs that go into the little holes. That's where the bulb's going to sit, and there's going to be one single solitary screw holding this in the right place. So let's play around with getting the bulb into the little seating. That goes in there quite nicely. I like that. I like that indeed. A CM screw. Now I'm assuming the M will be because it's going into metal. That's the way these things often work. So let's just get the one out. I think I'm going to do these one at a time as it comes out and shows, instead of getting them all out into place. So I shall get this. Now this is just one screw going in, obviously, but before I tighten it down, I need to make sure that's sitting where it should be. The bulb is in place, nothing's being squished, no wires going out of shape or anything. So then I can tighten that down a bit more. So being it's going into metal, I can be a little bit more aggressive, but not terribly aggressive. You don't need to be really aggressive. That's that. I'm happy with that. Next, on the opposite side, we need to put in, yeah, that goes on there. The other one, which goes over the top. This one is obviously not illuminated, although it fits together much the same way. It looks like that's ready for illumination if they bothered doing it, but they didn't. It's interesting. Yep, secure in place with a CM screw. Maybe they planned on more lighting and either it didn't look right or didn't behave right or whatever other reason they had. They just didn't go with it. So that just goes into there. And then on the outside of that, we've got just black covering windows, and they look almost black, but not quite. But when the light comes on, obviously it will light up. So I'm happy with that. Then we've got F. Insert the deck front window. Window will be the transparent bit. So we've got a little, obviously front windows are all going to light up. Some of these are, some of them are going to be black, which is fair. That's good. I like that. That's just going into there, which again is going to cover up, I assume, random. I don't know if they're always the same lights lit up on the show. I've never really followed it that closely. So nothing happening with that other bulb. That's interesting. Not doing anything with that yet. Or is that what we're going to be doing? Oh, don't jump ahead. Just go with it. Next, cover the front window with a deck front deflector, which is this silvery thing, which has got clear on one side and silvery. It looks like it's ready for 2 bulbs to go into there. Yeah, slot the bulbs from the deck front window lights marked with an A sticker. That would be these ones with the A on it. So we've got to separate these somewhat because they've got to go either side. It says separate them in like a ribbon cable. You can quite easily pull them apart. It's got these going over this way and those going over that way, and they're going into, obviously, the little cutouts up here. And on the plastic window piece, there is again the little plastic indentation to stop it from pulling out and wriggling around all over the place. So let's get that one there. Let's get that one there. For a relatively small first section, there's a lot of lights and bulbs in this. It's going to be a very nicely illuminated model, and I'm very happy with that. So now the tricky bit is going to be holding these both in place on opposite sides of the build. I need to tighten that screw down, that's not quite secure. While getting this in place, I reckon I'm going to be able to do one side and then come back and manipulate the other one a little bit anyway. That's in there. That's not needed yet. This is the other light, which needs to come back quite a long way. That looks like that's there. Good. That's that. More CM screws. So this should be maybe all of them. Can I let go of that? Yeah, if I let go of that, it's not going to go anywhere. There are 4 screws holding this in place, which is good. So that will leave me with 2 spare. Did it say 2 spare? I'm sure it said more than 2 spare. I don't know. I don't need more than 2 spare anyway, so that's okay. So let's get that started off on there. Again, starting but not finished. I get one over the other side. Worst comes to the worst is the bulbs get pulled out, but they can't now because they're held in place nice and securely. That one in there. That one over there. Secure these parts together. We shall indeed secure. Get them tightened up. Again, going into metal through plastic, so you still got to be a little bit careful, but not quite as careful as you have on the other plastic parts. I want to test it. I want to make the lights come on, but I can't yet. I'm sure they'll give us some sort of battery testing, manipulating thing, but not yet. Yeah, that I didn't tighten up very much at all. That's much happier. I'm much happier with that. Let's tighten this one up as well. There we go. Right. All in there, bulbs secure except for that one. That's over there. That's good. Right, let's have a look at the next stage. This is step G. We're going to be using the other thing, aren't we? We're bringing back in the other bit. But first, we've got this. The upper sensor platform. Turning this over. The upper sensor platform sits nicely around there. Cool, I like that. So far, so good. And is that secured in place as well? That really? Really? I wouldn't have thought that needed to be screwed in place because it's going to have another thing going over the top of it. But that's what they tell us to do. We're using 4 AP screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 spare from that. It must be 2, 2, and 1 in that. That's what we said we're getting. Right. So these are being placed into there. So again, 1 just in, and I like to do the opposite one, just in. And then we can do the others. Put that down one at a time. One over there. And the last one of these down there. Yep, that's sitting where it should. So we can come back in, tighten this down again. And then we are getting the bridge assembly. Insert the center deck, threading the wire through the gap. Align the 3 screw holes and fasten with 3 CP screws. Yep, right, so that's good. So this we are threading the wire through. And then getting that on there. So it looks good, like that. Nice fit. Quite a tight fit, but still not silly pressure tight, but I'm happy with that. And then 3 of the CP screws. of which there are 4 in this packet. So yeah, that's good. One of those will be spare. And they are going through the 3 screw holes that we have remaining. One in there. One in there. And one in there, making sure it's all where it should be. And then going back and tightening them up. Okay. Yeah, substantial, lots of screws, lots of things, and it looks good. I'm happy with it. Not happy with that screw. There we go. Yep. Right, so that's that. The wires are all coming out of there, except for one of those that I'm not sure where that's meant to go. But we'll worry about that later, because, you know, I'm sure it's going to go somewhere. It's not going to go over, I don't know. I don't know. It will tell us at some point. Right, now we have to do some more things. We've got to carefully remove these escape pods and then fit them. Now, for that, I'm going to be using some model making expertise. Well, some model making things. I shall be cutting them off with some cutters, just like that. And then, where I've cut that off, I'm just going to give a light sanding just to get rid of any loose nubs that are on there. And they are going on all of these. Oh, right, they're specific. This one's got an R written on it, but it's also where the pins are matter. So it says push them into place, and it doesn't have any labelling on the sprue. Okay, but all the pins, they've all got R. 2 of them have got L. Yeah, we've got L, R, L, L, R, R, L. Right, now, which way around do they go? And which one's going to go where? That looks like it goes over there, if it's that way up. But I don't think it's that way up. I think it's that way up. No, if it's that way up, then that would have to go there. Right, I'm going to have a look at a picture and see, because I can't tell from the pictures here which way up they have to go. Is there a decent picture? There is. He's on here, look. So we have... I can't actually make out. Right, great. It's these ones that we're doing. So it looks like you can't actually make out the line, but it's definitely more rounded at the top and flat at the bottom. So it's that way up. So is that one going to go there? It's got an R on it. Is it right? But that's left if you're doing it that way up. Right, I shall go away. I shall investigate, because I don't want to just push it in place and it be wrong. So yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, with some closer investigation, I've been able to figure out which way around they go. Now, the pegs on the backs of these are actually angled. So you can tell it's got to go that way up, which is the way I decided it was going to go anyway. And as such, these are the L ones because they're on the left. So that's the one that's going in the middle because it's in that place. So you've got to actually line it up sort of above and then slide it in a downwards direction. He says, I just did the other 3 perfectly, and now I can't do this one on camera, and I can't. There we go. So that clips in place like that. This one is in the middle-ish, so that's over there. And the last one goes in place over there. So that is the build complete for this first issue. I'm happy with it. The one that I'm not sure about that bulb. I would have preferred that to be secured somewhere rather than just flapping around loose. But it's obviously going to go somewhere at some point. I don't know where, but at some point it will go somewhere, probably the next deck down. But that's that. I'm happy with that. It's a nice substantial piece to begin with. A nice screwdriver and nice pictures. So I shall leave that issue there. It's longer than I intended it to be, but we don't know. With new builds, you're never sure. So that's that. I shall see you tomorrow for the next issue and looking through the magazine. So thank you for watching. Stay safe. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.